Hey there everyone, this is Joe from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, here with your weekly precious metals technical analysis. Of course, hit the big red subscribe button right here on YouTube to join the family for weekly metals technical analysis, plus our weekly auctions, our YouTube only specials as well. Lots of stuff, lots of reasons to subscribe, so you should have done that already. If you haven't, do it right now. So last week's video was a silver technical analysis, and in that video I'd mentioned that a commenter on one of our YouTube videos had asked for a palladium analysis. So I promised last week that I'd do a palladium analysis, but I reread the comment and they're actually asking for platinum. So this is what you're getting this week. A very macro view of the platinum price, going back all the way to 1970. So we're just going to take a very long macro look, long-term view, and I'll talk about where the prices could go if they go down from here or if they go up from here. I'm always going to just tell you where the prices could go. I'm not going to tell you or give you a prediction of where the prices definitely will go within a certain time frame. I'm not going to give you any of those kind of predictions. I think that's wrong. But we will take a look at, hey, if the price goes down from here, it could hit these points. If it goes up from here, it could hit these particular points. And of course, when the price breaks through an all-time high, I'll also talk about where the price could go from there before a significant retracement. So we're using the tradingview.com website for this one, which goes all the way back to 1998, and this one right here is the macrotrends.net platinum historical chart, again all the way back to 1970. What you'll notice here is a definite trend channel, and we're still just within that trend channel, so I still think it is in play for the moment. So what I've tried to do is recreate this trend channel as best as I could on this chart right here. Let me push this out. So I've done my best. I think it's as close as I can probably reasonably get. Let me get rid of that. Because unfortunately this one here is not as interactive, so I do have to use the TradingView website. But as you can see here, from 1970, a low of around about $100 US. And we had this peak of about $900 in about 1980, and we didn't break through that all-time high until approximately 2006, and then we did have that high in USD of about approximately 2000, and I think it was, if we can get it there, it's about 2100, 2200, something like that. Maybe the TradingView website will give us a better indication. And now at the moment we have been heading down, and we're hovering around $870 US. So actually, if I punch in here and we check out what the actual all-time high was, and we're looking at approximately, it's about $2,300 US. So again, I tried to match up this trend channel as best as possible because it is in play, and it's quite an important indicator when you're doing technical analysis. You find the key lows and the key highs, drawing trend lines, and then if you're still within that channel, these could be levels of major support and major resistance. But let's talk about where we could move down from here if the price was going to move down from here, if it was going to have a significant retracement from here. Again, I'm not going to predict whether we're going to continue a bear market or whether we're in a new bull market, etc. Trying to be as impartial as possible. So let's talk about if the price has significant drop from here, what are the significant levels you're looking at? Well, the obvious one right here is probably knocking on this door right here. So you've got this previous support level, and it was tested just recently back in, what have we got, August of 2018. And so if we come down from here, you could see this retested again briefly. But take note that in general, and it's not always a hard and fast rule, but in general, the more you test a level, whether it's a support level or a resistance level, the more you test it, the more likely it is to be taken out. So for example, if we are still in a bear market with the platinum price, then if we do see another test here, Again, we could have a little bounce, but if it tests it again, the more times you hit that level, the more likely it's to be taken out. As I said, where could we come down from here? The next significant level, well, you want to look for areas of previous resistance, and I think you guys can probably already see it. It's this one right here. If you can see that, let me punch in a horizontal line, and you're looking at approximately $650. So if it's still in a bear market, what you could see is breaking through this level of about 750, and this could be your next level of support before it has a bounce back up, and if it's a bear market, a continuation down. I'm not going to tell you whether I think it's a bear market or a bull market from here, trying to be as impartial as possible, but that's the next level of support right here, and breaking down from there. You've probably got, and you can probably see it right here. Let's see, maybe, I wouldn't call it that. No, maybe that's a little level right there of about $515. You could call it, I guess, the psychological value of $500. But then you've definitely got this next little level right here of about 440, and then under 440, around about there, of about $400. Now let's check that on the longer term time frame. So we've got, where are we? Any other significant areas? Well, maybe here. So if we're going back past 1998, you got this level of about 350, but I think that'll do for now. I think those levels would be the next levels you would see if we're continuing in a bear market, and you wouldn't see these levels hit for some time. But again, we're just looking at the very macro view. So that's the downside. Let's take a look at the upside. I do want to mention this uptrend line right here. So for example, if we are continuing either in a consolidation pattern or if we're in a new bull market, this trend line right here might still be one that is in play. So for example, if say we continue up from here, you might see maybe this level right here as a tiny level level of resistance, that is, or potentially even this level right here at about, well, you could call that the psychological value of $1,000. So if, for example, we come up to about $1,000 and then we have a retracement, where could we retrace back down to? Well, this long-term trend line. So I think that's definitely in play. And at some point within the platinum price, in my opinion, and let me just pull this out, and we're talking really, really long-term, potentially at some point this could be tested again. But we're talking, potentially years down the track. Although, if we are in a much larger bull market, what you could see, and we'll talk about these prices later on, but what you could see is, after breaking through a high, this top end of the trend channel could become the bottom end of the next trend channel. But we'll talk about that in just a second. So moving up from here, what are the next levels of resistance? Well, I just mentioned that $1,000 US level at this level right here. Moving up from here, you've got this little area of resistance, and you're looking at about $1,200 right there. And moving up from here, well, you've got this little area here where it's skirted around the price of between 1,300 and it's about between 13 and 14. So maybe these two right here, but they're not as significant as this one right here. And of course, you've got the level of about 1,900, and then of course you've got the all-time high at 2,300. So those are your ups and downs. So if you would like, what you can do is you can pause this video and you can take maybe a screenshot of this, which shows you the different levels right here, these horizontal lines, and it will give you the corresponding prices as well as to where roughly the prices could go on a long-term time scale, moving down or moving up from here. Then the last thing I want to do is I want to show you the Fibonacci analysis, because as I've talked about in the last couple of videos, I do find Fibonacci analysis to be quite predictive. It is quite helpful. So let's pop those out. And also, while I'm here, I actually should mention the relative strength index. What am I talking about? That's this right here. When you use the relative strength index, the RSI, when you find it reaches above this level here, it means that it is in overbought territory, and then you could see a potential retracement from there. When it's down at this level right here, it could be it's in an oversold area, and then you could see a potential upswing from there. So we are not yet, in my opinion, on the macro time frame, on the monthly time frame, we're not yet in overbought territory. So that means that, in my opinion, there could be potentially room to move up a little bit further before you do see a retracement, of course, and it will always retrace at some point. But we're still not in overbought territory. So that's just something to consider on the macro time frame. Where the price hits before it becomes overbought, well, I can't really say. But we have talked about, I can't give you a definite opinion, but we have talked about those prices moving upwards. So let's do Fibonacci analysis very quickly. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a macro Fibonacci view. So I actually need to go back to the macro trends view, and I'm going to take this high of approximately 900, it was roughly, and this low. So this is the previous, I think, the previous significant high and low. So high of 900 and a low of approximately, where are we? It was about 235, 230, something like that. So I'm going to find that on here. So let's go 900. 900 is approximately, that's close enough for jazz. And then down to approximately 235, something like that, 240. Is about that'll do. I think that's good. So again, taking from this high and this low, and let's see how that relates to where the prices have gone from there. Okay, so what you'll notice is there's the previous all-time high, there's the 900, and there's the 240. Well, something I found interesting is that after we broke through that high, again of 900, we came up to test, and I talked about this last week, we came up to test the 1.618 level of approximately 1300, and it was just an interim high. And so we came up to test it, we had a retracement back down to around 1050, and then that's when we had the big move all the way up to 2300. So what you could potentially see, and I'm not saying this is going to happen for sure, but what you could potentially see, and let me remove this, is a similar thing happening once we break the all-time high of 2300. So let me take the all-time high of 2300 and the current low. We'll take this low because it's matching there of about 750 roughly. So where's the 1.618 and where's the 2.618? So here's the 1.618 here at a level of about 3,250, and here's the 2.618 of the 4,800 level. Okay, so talking very blue sky thinking, however many years down the track that may be, it could be a whole bunch of years, it could be a short number of years, I'm not going to say, but the next levels that you could potentially see once, if we're in a bull market and if we continue higher and higher, we could see, once we break the 2300 level, a rise up to the 1.618, which is a interim top, and then maybe a retracement back to visit the all-time high, because in general you do visit, once you break an all-time high, you tend to visit the all-time high again at some point. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it does happen sometimes, probably more often than not. But that could be an interim high before you have the big move up to potentially, let's say, about $4,800 to about $5,000. So that could be your next big move, and I'm talking, say, your next kind of rise from this kind of level like that. That could be your next big move up to about 5,000 roughly before you see a significant retracement. And as I mentioned before, that significant retracement could eventually be back down to this trend line, which is currently the top upward top end of the trend channel right here, that could now become the bottom end of the trend channel, and you see support. So again, on the very long term, if we see a break through the all-time high of 2300, we could come up to, in my opinion, again, not financial advice, a top of around about 5,000 before we see a retracement. So that's really it. You've got all the down price movements, you've got my opinion on the up price movements, and again, just in a macro view. Next week, I will take a look at palladium for sure, and then from there I will go back and revisit gold, silver, platinum, and palladium again. We'll take a look at them more on a daily and a weekly time frame. So you will always get a weekly every Thursday precious metals technical analysis, and in between that time, if there's some crazy price moves up or down, I will definitely do a video in between that time, just in case there's big price moves, to tell you in my own personal opinion where the price may go from there. That's it. So hit the big red subscribe button, as I mentioned before. Hope you enjoyed the technical analysis. Let me know your thoughts. Place a comment, let me know if there's anything. That's just the bell ringing because we've got a customer coming in to purchase metal. So we're going to go serve a customer. Thanks, gang, for watching. Take care. We'll speak to you soon.